What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is WrestleMania season, and your boy is here, and I got a good one. I've been waiting to collab with one of these two men for a long time. I was honored to have one of these two men on my show, and I'm excited. Please welcome Kyle, and returning to Straight Talk Wrestling, the Prophet, Jeremy Prophet, the man who could sell ice to an Eskimo when his house is made out of fucking ice, because this man can speak fire. Please welcome them from JOFO in the Ring back to Straight Talk for this special WrestleMania episode. How are you, gentlemen?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. As always, it's a pleasure to be here collaborating with you. And yeah, why listen to Kyle? You can hear from me first. So, I'll give you what you need to hear. You're right. I can sell ice to an Eskimo. Hey, man, I could sell a flaming volcano in the middle of hell. So when it comes to talking and making sure that people get their money's worth and want to see what I got to do, I'm the man to go to.
All right.
Actually, true. I once saw Jeremy sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves.
All right, gentlemen. So before we push record, I just went over the concept. The concept today is talking the talk. Talking the talk can alter an episode. And for the longest time, when I was a fan, my younger years, I didn't care about the talking. I only cared about the walking. Matches in the ring were what was special to me. But as I've gotten older, a little wiser, and the hairline's thinned out, I've discovered that the talking can alter your opinion of the match. If you're excited, you see the promos, you become less excited. Or if you're not as excited, you see promos, then you become more excited for the match. The match may not deliver, but if the build is good enough, you're intrigued enough to watch that match. Would you gentlemen not agree? I'll give you each 1 minute before we start them. Jeremy, you first.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when it comes down to it, wrestling is a TV show. So you got to be engaging the viewer. You got to make them want to watch the next episode. Every episode needs a hook, and every match needs a promo to promote, hence the term promo. So absolutely. If the match, good or not, the most important thing is you want people to watch it. Then you got one hurdle down and you got one more to go. Vice versa to what you said also, if the promo doesn't deliver and the match does, well, maybe the promo itself turned people off from wanting to see it. So these two things definitely have to go hand in hand. Much like when you see Jeremy Prophet, I make sure that I can sell it and I can deliver it.
It's true. Kyle, your thoughts?
I mean, everything he just said is absolutely right. I mean, if you look back, look at like the 80s, Hulk Hogan, he didn't really do that much in the ring, but he sold you into the building. Like when he told you he was going to slam Andre the Giant through the Trump Tower and the world was going to split in half and he was going to carry everybody on his back, you believed it. He got you. He got you where you needed to be. I mean, that's why he was great. And then vice versa with Sasha Banks. She doesn't really sell you into the building, but once you start watching her wrestle and go, especially when she's in there with like a Charlotte or a Becky, it's all bets are off.
100%. All right, let's get into it. So these are 6 matches that I've picked out. 3 that I was not excited about, but after watching the promos, they changed my opinion for the positive. And 3 that I was really excited for the matches, but the promo packages didn't sell me enough to really pay attention to them. So I'm going to share my screen. So that hooked me into that match. Now we all know the match itself was okay. Didn't really deliver. Pile of chairs, a whole ton of German suplexes, call it a night. Standard Brock Lesnar match 101. Dean Ambrose tried to make it as interesting as possible, but the match for me was eh. So now, based off that promo package, Kyle, I'm going to go with you first on this one. Did that sell you enough? If you were watching WrestleMania 32 for the first time, would you want to see that match?
I would absolutely want to see that match. That's WWE's promo package team deserves Oscar after Oscar after Oscar. They get you pumped up. They can get you pumped up for lunch just by how they put their packages together. It's insane. And not only that, but Dean Ambrose is a master on the mic, and so is Brock Lesnar too when he wants to be. So those two can definitely get you into the building. They got me to it. I mean, I was already going to get the pay-per-view anyway, but I was just more intrigued for that match just because Dean Ambrose is a psychopath and Brock Lesnar is a beast. It's just too bad we didn't get the match we should have gotten.
100%. Mr. Prophet, teach him.
So here's my main takeaway from that. On paper, you have a great story, a timeless classic. You have the irresistible force and I would say the immovable object, but it's more of like the indestructible rubber man who can take that beating and keep on ticking. As I always like to say, in fighting, it's not about how hard you hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep coming forward. And that was Dean Ambrose in a nutshell going up against Brock Lesnar. But herein lies the problem. There's an old quote from Hulk Hogan. And, I'm not a big fan of Hulk Hogan. But, you know, the man with the skin of a hot dog and the red and yellow does make a few good points here and there. And he says, you can't come out and give the audience cheap heat. Now, a lot of people think that cheap heat is, you know, just going out there and, you know, taking cheap shots at the audience, the local sports team, whatever it may be. But cheap heat can also be going out, making promises, and not delivering. So in this case, I think the problem lies in setting the bar way too high for what the talent was able to deliver in the actual match. I mean, not only in that promo package, but even in the build-up to it, we saw Dean Ambrose going and talking to hardcore legends, getting a chainsaw from Terry Funk. You know, they really were setting the bar extremely high for a level of violence and brutality that I think it would have, you know, anyone short of maybe Terry Funk and Mick Foley, it would have been hard for anyone to reach that expectation. So in these promos, while they may be good and they may sell people, a problem is that they may oversell people based on what the match can actually deliver, the restrictions put in place by the agents and the boss, obviously. So I think there's a fine line you have to walk in knowing what's realistic and not setting people's expectations too high.
I agree with everything you said, and I agree with everything Kyle said. It hooked me in enough to want to watch the match. But when you start to build it to a point where it can't reach it, especially in a PG era, you're just going to fall short of flat. And that's exactly what happened with this match. But the next one is something I think delivered both on promo and on match. This is WrestleMania 25, HBK versus The Undertaker. This was the first of two meetings. We saw the next one the following year, but this one was the one that hooked me. This was pretty much Mr. WrestleMania going up against the Streak. It was before Streak in career, but that's the build that we got. So we're going to watch about 90 seconds of this one, and we're going to go from there. So hopefully I don't get any ads, but I'm going to share my screen again and hope for the best. You see the promo package there, the buildup. I mean, it's logical. At WrestleMania 25, there's nobody else that should have faced The Undertaker but Shawn Michaels. And I believe both in the promo package and in the build to the match and the match itself, they delivered across the board. Much like you said, Jeremy, the build was steady, the build rose, the build delivered. Still one of my favorite matches of all time. And I'm not really an uber fan of either of them. I appreciate their work, but they're not one of my personal favorites. So Jeremy, I'm going to give it to you this time around. What are your thoughts on that one?
So one of the main things that stands out to me in that promo package is it's more or less like a wrestling match. Now, there was a famous quote that Drew McIntyre said when he did the Broken Skull sessions with Steve Austin, where he said when Vince McMahon used to do promo class, you know, he would give them advice and whatnot. One of those advices being that a match is a promo is a match. If you see that promo package there, to me, it resembles the structure of a match. We're introduced to Shawn Michaels. And I feel the beginning, you know, it's pretty standard, pretty run of the mill. This is Shawn. This is what he's been doing this year. This is why you should like him. Then here comes The Undertaker. Here comes the thing that he's trying to conquer, the Streak at WrestleMania. So now there's adversity in the story of the protagonist. Obviously, it's going to lead to some back and forths between them, much like all storylines and rivalries, and then leave you wanting to see the match. So I think the best promos and the best promo packages are actually the ones that follow that same match structure, much like we try to do in the ring and tell that story. So I think that is actually what cements that as being the perfect promo to complement what I personally feel is quite possibly the greatest match in WrestleMania history. For me, it would either be Shawn and Taker, or for the significance of it, again, got to give the devil his due, Hogan and Andre, for how that match is still talked about to this day.
150%. I agree with you. Kyle, your thoughts?
The thing I liked about it was it was two old school pros. Like they came up during the 90s. They went into the Attitude Era. Shawn went away for a bit, but like we got like a little tease of this match back at the end of the the Royal Rumble. I think it was 2007, the one where Taker won, and they hadn't touched each other since I want to say Royal Rumble 98. Since when he got injured in the casket match. So for me, I've been waiting for this for almost 10 years. And then the fact that we get Shawn Michaels, we get The Undertaker. He's talking about how he's living heaven on earth, and then Undertaker right there. Well, guess what? You want me? You're going to have to go through hell to get it. And just the story those two told, and then following it up into going into the year later, how it continued off that, how we started at the Slammies, and he called him, we almost said he had him by this much. He almost had him, and then he wants him again. And then we went through that whole Royal Rumble scenario. Those two are just probably two of the best storytellers in the business.
And Kyle, to your point also, another thing that's interesting about that storyline is that it actually was built up the year prior, because when it came down to the final four in the Royal Rumble, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, John Cena, and Dave Bautista. And then it ended up being that Shawn faced John Cena at WrestleMania, Taker and Batista faced each other, but they also had a tag match where Shawn teamed with Cena and Taker with Batista. So I thought it was kind of cool how they kind of kept all those guys in each other's orbit while telling this story over the course of, you know, pretty much 2 years. So that also added to the final payoff when we got that match.
150% agree. I can't say anything wrong about this. I knew this was going to be the collab I was most excited about that I've had over the years, and you guys are delivering. The build has been successful, and so far we're 5 stars. We're 5 stars, gentlemen.
I like it.
All right. So the next one is John Cena versus JBL, WrestleMania 21. Probably hands down my favorite John Cena promo happened about a week before. The storyline to build to this one was when if John Cena touched JBL in any form or fashion, he would lose his title shot. But if JBL provoked him, John Cena was allowed to put his hands on him as long as JBL put his hands on him first. So this was the SmackDown before, and this was the infamous, let me pour water in your hat and dump it all over your face. This is probably my favorite John Cena promo with just the one line. So let me share my screen, and hopefully we don't get any more Dairy Queen ads because I don't want to make Kyle hungry.
It's okay. I took some lactate today, so we're good.
That makes me want to rewatch it all over again. That was the moment. That was the promo that hooked me in to John Cena. And I was all in based off of that promo alone. And I hadn't watched wrestling for about a year before that. I happened to tune into that SmackDown. I looked at the wife and said, I think we should jump back in here for this year's WrestleMania. I want to see what's going to happen. So, Kyle, your thoughts. Go ahead.
I thought the build-up for that match was great. The promo work was excellent. I think JBL was doing his best work. He was running a roughshod over the SmackDown roster for almost a year as champion. He beat Eddie Guerrero, Booker T, The Big Show, Undertaker. He was cleaning house on everybody, but then he had this scrappy kid from the streets, as he was almost billed as. And like you said, what he did in that promo when he takes the tie with the scissors, snips it, he does everything. You could tell John Cena really wanted him to hit him just so he can unload on him. And they both sold the hell out of that match. I actually watched the match last night after I watched this promo, just because I was so fucking sold on it. It was great. And WrestleMania 21 is actually one of my favorite WrestleManias. Mm-hmm. Just because the entire card was great. But that match particularly, I was 3 thumbs up for this guy.
3 thumbs up. Mr. Prophet, teach him.
So one of the things I love about that is that you have 2 very strong characters, 2 distinct characters, and that they're both relatable. You have JBL, who's the corporate businessman, millionaire, guy comes from money, you know, the updated Ted DiBiase, if you will, and is just so hateable, as Kyle said, running roughshod over SmackDown. He took tons of guys out on that title run, you know, Booker T, Kurt Angle, pretty much, you know, he was going through every babyface on the roster as Cena was gaining his momentum, doing the raps and the freestyles, catching on with the audience. I remember being on the Cena bandwagon pretty early on. I even have his first T-shirt that they put out, the white and blue one with the that symbol.
Oh yeah, Thug Life.
Well, I was so on the Cena bandwagon. I was there when they actually tried him out as a babyface for the first time on a house show here in Montreal. He took on A-Train, and like I had a sign for him, and like man came out of the audience and like hugged me and stuff. I was a big John Cena fan from the get-go. But one of the things that my biggest takeaway is when you look at Cena in that promo, he is not the stereotypical babyface. You know, he's not going to just, you know, stand there and let JBL walk all over him. He's bringing that, you know, hate to use a cliche, but ruthless aggression, and bringing that realism and that sense of, okay, you hit me, I want you to do that because I'm going to decimate you here. I'm going to give it back to you tenfold. And I think that we don't see enough babyfaces take that stand in wrestling where it's like, yeah, you know, we do this for a living. We get paid to fight here. I'm damn sure going to want to fight you. And that's what I love about that promo. The other thing I love about it is we rarely see the babyface turn the tables on the heel with that stipulation of, you know, I can't touch you or I lose my title shot or whatever it may be. And I think that that is more so on the booking team for coming up with a creative way to make Cena look cool and look tough at the same time. And obviously he did his job on his end. I mean, you see him yelling at JBL, you see that vein coming out of his neck, you know, all those details. Nowadays, you see people do promos, even if the verbiage, even if the tone is on point, you know, the expression on their face might not be right. The body language may not be right. In that promo, you see him put all those small little details to use to best sell that match. And for all we know, it may not have been written in stone that John Cena was going to take that belt at Mania. So he's fighting that uphill battle to show, hey, I'm ready to take that ball and run with it. Kyle said when we did Circle of Debate, and it was a great line, he said, you know, if you can't deliver the big promo, you shouldn't get the belt. And, you know, in 99% of the time, I agree with that too. I've always said that a good metric for determining if someone should be champion is, can you put them in the ring by themselves to open the show, and they can get the audience hyped and keep the people at home entertained. That should be something that they should do. And I see it week after week where there'll be someone, and I'll just say, you know what, yeah, they're getting the push, but put them in the ring with a microphone by themselves, they're not going to entertain the people. They're gonna drown in the deep waters. Guys like Rock, like Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, you know, the best talkers in the business, you could put them out there. They don't need to have an interviewer there to do it back and forth. They could just go out, grab the mic, and make people want to see the rest of the show. People like Jeremy Prophet can do that. I think that should kind of be a requirement, a bare minimum requirement, even for somebody to get hired. It should really be, you know, can you stand there, talk for an extended period of time, and make people hang on your every word? And definitely John Cena showed time and time again that you give him the ball, he can run with it. And that's why he's had a Hall of Fame career.
Completely 100 again, 50% agree with what you said. Now that was the good. Now, unfortunately, we get into my opinion of the not so good. Promos that didn't deliver, matches that didn't deliver. One, we haven't seen the match yet, but the promo has not been solid. And this is what sparked the idea. So I'm going to show this promo. I can already see Kyle rolling his eyes. He's not excited about it. But this is Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. This is a promo from a SmackDown leading up to this year's WrestleMania match. I'm not even going to get into Bianca Belair speaking because she really can't deliver on the mic much better than that. But that was Sasha Banks. That was when it was announced that this match was going to happen. And as excited as I was when Bianca Belair won the Royal Rumble, I knew she had mic work to do. The build to this match since the announcement has been porous at best. It hasn't delivered. Will the match deliver? Maybe. But like you said, Jeremy, you have to have the big promo. If you don't have the big promo, you can't run with the belt. Now, neither of them have promos, but one of them has the belt. So the question is, I pose to you, I'll give you a couple minutes on this, Max, because then we still got two more to do. But what's your thoughts on this?
Okay, so where to start here? When it comes down to it, and if you hear a lot of interviews that I do and people talk about promos, one of the things I say is I'm very forgiving to talent because, let's face it, you got to adhere to a script. You got to please a lot of people who have their idea of what you should be. And I think a lot of this falls under the talent not having a strong sense of identity to be able to say, well, you know, I would do this because of, you know, these sort of things that pertain to my character that I've been playing for the longest time. You get high turnover in writers. You get a lot of writers who maybe aren't long-term wrestling fans. Again, I don't know because I'm not in the meetings. If they'd want to hire me, then whatnot, you know, I'll be happy to go in there, give them a few pointers. But I see a lot of people who I feel have the potential to be able to portray something good, but it's just not clicking on the mic. You know, I was going to say that WWE should almost hire agents for promos, just like they have agents for matches. I'd love to do that because when I see a Ricochet, when I see a Sasha, when I see a Shayna Baszler, you know, I see these people and I'm like, I could help them deliver their promos more believably. And that's where it begins and ends. In Sasha is not talking like a real person. Sasha in real life, if I were to encounter her in any kind of a situation like this, I don't feel she would speak the way she speaks on SmackDown there. And how can it be relatable to the audience when you hear someone talking in this, you know, artificial dinner theater kind of illogical way? You watch any form of real sports, whether it be college sports, where these guys are all taught, you know, how to speak and whatnot, because they have to do interviews. The guys in the NHL, Major League Baseball, they all conduct interviews, you know, during breaks and whatnot. So they're taught this skill. Yet in WWE, they were told that they're taught this, but we see examples like that. And I get that it's live TV and maybe they get out there, and once it's out there, hey, you know, there's not much you can do because it's already on the air and hopefully the guys who make the packages can edit it around so that it sounds decently. I mean, I could take the same verbiage that Sasha said there and actually deliver it in a way that's believable, you know, rather than being like, Bianca, you know, you say you're the EST, and it could be, no, put some seriousness in it. This is what you make your living doing. You could be like, Bianca, you want to say you're the EST, but until you face me, you ain't the champ. You know, just that, more believable, not the laughing and the flailing and all those kinds of things. You know, it's like she doesn't believe in her own match, and it just comes across like she's forcing. She's trying to be charismatic by talking with a cadence that's, you know, different than what you would hear someone saying on the street. So I think really, I mean, look, hey, you know, Sasha, Mercedes, the Snoop's cousin, you know, you want some help, you know, the Harbinger of Truth, Jeremy Prophet, would be happy to help you.
I believe it. You could sell it. The man with the sexiest, baldest head in Canada. Kyle, what are your thoughts?
No, I agree 100% with what Jeremy's saying. And just like, it sounds like she's trying to convince herself that she is who she says she is. It's like she doesn't believe it. You know, she gets her script for the promo, and she's got to run through like the WWE style promos. Like, okay, I gotta read out her catchphrase, I gotta read out her nickname, and then counter that. And it just sounds like she's going through the motions, and she's just, like he said, she's not confident in herself. Not only that, but like it's just not believable coming. Like, oh, you have to take the belt from me. Okay, you've lost it 9 times. This is the longest title reign you've had, and it's only been 4 months. Oh, okay, that's going to be the hardest thing ever. That's why I said it should have still been Bayley. It would have been more believable. You think you're the EST? You got to take this belt off me. I've held it for a year. I've ran roughshod over this division. What's Sasha done? She won it sketchily off of Asuka with help. Lost it a week later. She won this off Bayley in a Hell in a Cell with a bunch of chair shots. So she beat her one-on-one, but she still had a little bit of help with the chair. I'm not sold on Sasha Banks at all.
See, I look at it like this, and with respect to time, I'm going to keep this short. But I feel that in general in wrestling, and I don't want to believe I'm the only exception, but when it comes down to it, I feel certain people have a limited amount of attribute points. Kind of like when you create a wrestler in a video game. And some put their attributes in wrestling, some put it in their appearance, some put it in their promo skills. But for the most part, they kind of stagnate there. And it seems like they just don't want to sharpen those other abilities. That's why we don't see wrestlers get better in the ring. We don't see wrestlers get better on the mic. We don't see wrestlers' looks improve and whatnot. I feel that Sasha is such a commodity because she's such a good in-ring performer. I can't take that away from her. She has the ability to have great in-ring chemistry with just about everybody, bumps like hell, makes her opponents look good. But unfortunately, on the mic, there hasn't been any kind of an evolution, any kind of a progression. And I kind of feel like that could maybe be because she does the other things so well that she maybe doesn't see a need to want to step up that other part. Plus, she already has the belt. So, you know, you get, what more stars are there to reach for at that point? I think it's complacency.
I completely agree. We are at the 10-minute mark, gentlemen, so I'm going to move on to the next one. This is Shawn Michaels, Vince McMahon from WrestleMania 22. This is when Shawn Michaels and God faced against Vince McMahon. The match was for me, but because of the build, I didn't believe it. And also, I don't believe the whole realism. I don't mind realism being brought in, but the religion side of things was a little bit iffy for me. I'm not a big believer in faith, or I do believe in God, but I just think this one was in a little bit of poor taste. But let's watch. I'll share my screen, and away we go. Again, time constraints are making me shorten the promos, but I felt, again, the religion side of stuff, the angle, I just wasn't a fan of it. Therefore, it tuned me out for the build. The promos weren't bad, and watching it in hindsight, I mean, McMahon's decent on the mic, and Shawn Michaels is one of the best, and that's when he was at the top of his game. Gentlemen, your thoughts. Kyle, I'll give you a minute, and after that, I'll give Jeremy 90 seconds. Kyle.
So McMahon and God was actually a backlash the next month. This was just straight up McMahon and Shawn Michaels.
You're right. My apologies.
But McMahonism was hilarious TV, though. You got to admit. For this match, McMahon can sell anything. He could sell me whatever he wants. Like, I would love to see that McMahon in this post #MeToo snowflake world that we live in, just to hear him out there in the ring cutting promos. It would be fantastic for me. But I thought the promo work was actually good for this match. The match itself was okay. I thought McMahon took a lot of bumps in that match. I enjoyed it, though, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. Jeremy.
Yeah, I would say they tried very hard to sell us some filler for that Mania. And for the most part, just about all of Vince McMahon's Mania matches have been pretty good filler. You know, Hogan, Shawn, Brett. When it comes down to it, you know, even Vince and Shane, that was maybe his most competitive one that he had. But, you know, it's really just filler. I think, again, the promo does a good job of showing here's the big bad villain, why you should hate him. The verbiage, the lyrics are on point. And here's Shawn. So, again, my expectations weren't through the roof for it because really Vince is a non-wrestler and Shawn is a wrestler. So it's a foregone conclusion of what's going to happen there. But, you know, kudos to them for at least trying to pass off this match, filler match, as being somewhat of a big deal that people would want to see. But it's pretty hard to get hyped for, you know, Vince facing anyone.
Especially over him trying to get him to drop the whole screw job angle.
I will say the only time I was hyped for a Vince match was when they teased him and Eric Bischoff were going to do something. Other than that, I've not been on board.
Yes, I completely agree.
Love him to death, but you know.
Yeah, I think the last Vince match I was excited for was when he fought Austin with one arm tied behind his back. When he's like, the stunner arm, tie the stunner arm.
All right, the last one of the night. We're at it. We're at the 5-minute mark now. Last one of the night. Roman Reigns, Undertaker, WrestleMania 33. I always thought Roman Reigns, their in-ring performer was okay. I've hated on his mic skills for a long time. I only feel now that they've improved because of an idea I said 3 years ago when they should just shut him up, put him with Paul Heyman, let him go out there, beat everybody and leave like a new age Brock Lesnar. Lo and behold, 2 years later, my idea comes to fruition. Not saying it's conspiracy, but I think it is. Okay, I'm going to put that on wax right now. So this is the promo from WrestleMania 33. I'm just going to sync it up. That's what I do. So this was, again, a promo. I'm about to share my screen, but this was a promo that did not deliver for me in any aspect. And this was a match that I'm glad The Undertaker didn't go out on because I feel that the Boneyard match was the complimentary way to go out, in my opinion. Thought him and AJ Styles did really well on that one. But let's watch this. That wasn't the exact promo that I was looking for, but the other one, the link kind of broke up on me there. But that's my honest opinion, that the promos didn't deliver. Reigns didn't deliver. When he says, this is my yard, I didn't believe it. I have 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So I'm going to give you guys each 45 seconds, and then we'll wrap it up and say our shout outs. And I appreciate both of you for being on the show. You know, you're always members of the Straight Talk family. You know, you can come back anytime. Jeremy Prophet, your 45 seconds. I'm hoping you can stick to it.
Yeah, I'll try my best to. One of the things I wanted to say is I'd love to run it back with you again here when we have more time, because I'd love to bring some of my favorite promos to the table too. Really think it's a great concept that you're doing here. I'm going to just keep it short and sweet. With that match, I feel that there was nothing at stake. And I think that was the main issue. I think it's the same issue that plagues Monday Night Raw or SmackDown on a weekly basis, especially in the main events, in that there is nothing at stake. It's just two guys fighting for the sake of fighting. They can talk about, you know, fighting for the yard, for the locker room, for legacy, whatever it may be. To close out WrestleMania with really nothing at stake, being that the streak was already broken, I just think that that's where it really fell flat. And last thing I'll say is, as much as that promo may have fallen flat and not delivered, I do feel Roman Reigns' promo the night after, where he took his time and all he said was, it's my yard now, that delivered more of a message after the match was done. So, you know, can't hate on it totally, because if that was the direction they were going in from the start, then I could have accepted it, but it was totally unclear to me. And it's kind of why a lot of face versus face matches in ring fall flat too, for the same reasons you see in that package.
Kyle.
Yeah, no, just going with what Jeremy said, there was nothing at stake. If this match would have meant more had the streak not been conquered a couple years prior. Like, I feel like if he would have still had the streak, then it would have deserved to have gone on last. It would have made more sense. There would have been more of an emotional connection to it. But at the time, I feel like with the two title matches that were on that WrestleMania that year, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and Lesnar and Goldberg, that was the only thing I feel that could have went on last. If it would have made more sense to go on last if it would have been Undertaker's last match. But thankfully it wasn't, and we got the Boneyard match. But yeah, no, overall the buildup wasn't that great. Undertaker, I found, did not look good at all throughout the buildup or the match. Just physically, he didn't. No.
And not to go over time, I know we're close, but I would have said, if I were building it up, it should have been Roman saying, look, Taker, you're old, you're finished. I'm going to make you like Old Yeller. I'm going to put the bullet in your head, and that's going to be it.
Everything John Cena said the next year is what Roman should have said that year.
No,
Can you hear me now?
Hold on a second. It's all good.
I hear
It's all-
George. George, do you hear me?
Okay.
Don't worry.
I do. I hear you, Jeremy. I hear you perfectly.
Okay. Kyle can't hear me.
Well, yeah, but that's because he's got hair growing in his ears, not in his head.
That scared the hell out of me. Holy fuck.
I didn't realize
It was like full blast.
it was coming out of my Bluetooth headphones.
the-
that are connected.
Glad I wore my brown pants.
Thanks for coming back on with this one, guys. I appreciate it. We'll shout out the socials. So Jeremy, teach them where they can find a profit, and then we're going to shout out JOFO, and then I want to play a little game that I played with Vic Endurance that I think you guys will really, really dig. So Jeremy, shout out your socials, and then Kyle, you can shout out JOFO.
All right. Well, if you want to find me and see more of this sexy, lovely being here in front of you, you can find me on Twitter at Jeremy Prophet, JEREMYPROPHET. First one that adds me, I'll send you a kind little DM and thank you personally. You can also find me on Instagram at The Real Jeremy Prophet. And as always, you can see me on JOFO, sometimes with Kyle, sometimes with Frank, on Tuesdays on YouTube, on JOFO in the Ring. Best place to find me.
Absolutely. And also you can find him on our Twitter as well, on our Instagram, on our Facebook. We got a whole plethora of his matches on our YouTube channel you can check out as well. Like he mentioned, you can find me at Kyle JOFO on Instagram and at offbeat_Kyle on TikTok. I think I'm about 120,000 likes away from 1 million views. 120,000 views away from 1 million. So head on over to there and, check my shit out. It's funny. Jeremy Prophet shows up in one of those TikToks as well, slapping the shit out of me. So
That's my favorite one.
it's his too.
I know it is. I can see the jubilation in his face when I love it. It brings a tear to my eye.
And I went easy on him.
It's not often. I only knew him an hour, and I asked him to slap me, and he obliged. So, he's a good guy.
If that was me, I would have slapped you and threw $5 down. Thanks.
Well, it goes to say you can't say Jeremy Prophet doesn't do anything for his fans.
No, all right, so this is the game I wanted to play. I played this with Vic Endurance. I call it Promo Class 101. It's when I would cut a promo on you, you cut a promo on me, and we go back and forth. I am a little bit of a wordsmith. Now, mind you, I cannot back up anything I say in the ring, but in the wonderful world of wrestling, I can get away with this. Plus, we're like 600 miles away, so anything I say can and not be will used against me. So I'm going to choose to cut my promo on Jeremy Prophet. Okay. I'm going to choose to do that. Kyle, you be the judge. Then Jeremy will cut a promo. I will be the judge. Then Kyle, you will cut a promo, and Jeremy will be the judge. Does that sound fair to everybody? That sound good?
Jesus.
All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
The world's funny. It's filled with prophets. It's filled with seers of the mind. It's filled with the great beyond. But when I think of prophets, I think of guys like Nostradamus, who predicted things that might have come true, but a lot of it didn't. And then I look at you staring at me across the ring in a few weeks. We're going to go one-on-one for the Canadian Championship. And all I could say is this: you may be a prophet, but I don't predict the future. I guarantee it. So when it comes to our match, not only am I going to walk away with the gold, but I'm going to walk away with those sunglasses. I'm going to take that jacket. I'm going to take your wallet. I'm going to take your girl. I'm going to take your car. I'm going to take your house. Because at the end of the day, straight talk is all that. Straight truth and only facts, baby. No prophesizing here. I speak it. I do it. I live it. Bam.
I mean, he only blinked like twice for that whole thing. So
Thank you. I try. I have a little bit of fun.
the man with the voice that can make a Wolverine purr, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, Jeremy, who are you choosing to cut your promo on?
I mean, we'll keep it going in a circle. I guess I could cut one on Kyle. I do it on a fairly regular basis. So
I kind of want to hear a rebuttal to what he just said to you, though.
It's interesting. I like it.
Yeah, but then where does that leave you in the mix?
Yeah, that's true.
All right, go ahead, Jeremy.
So when I think of Kyle, I think of someone who has been the beneficiary of a lot of hard work from other people. I mean, let's face it, I've pretty much carried him to a Hall of Fame career on JOFO in the Ring because we know nobody tunes in to see him. I mean, I'm a very benevolent man, so I kind of look at it like I'm doing community service because I'm here on a weekly basis exchanging conversation with someone who's got a well-deserved spot on the autism spectrum and making sure he seems halfway competent. But now Kyle wants to step in the ring with me. He wants his brush with greatness. He wants to go toe to toe with the star of the show. And that's a shoot, my friend. Tell you what, you step in that ring with me, you're going to find out why they call me the harbinger of truth. And that's not just because of the words that come out of my mouth. That's because of my actions. That's because I take people like you that want to smile and look like some kind of hermaphrodite Mr. Potato Head and think they belong in a wrestling ring. But the fact is, once you get in there with me, you're risking a lot. You're risking permanent damage. You're risking me taking this fist, shoving it upside your face, making you talk with even more of a stutter than you do 7 p.m. on YouTube on JOFO in the Ring week after week, where, like I said, people tune in to see me. So understand that you're risking a lot, and you might want to reconsider that decision, because I've been going easy on you, but when that bell rings, there is no mercy. There's only truth.
Jesus Christ. I am so glad he did not come back at me. I rebuttal. Everything I said, I take it all back. You can have everything. I'm going to lay down in the ring. I'm not going to do shit. Kyle.
Hang on. Bruno's writing my eulogy right now.
Kyle was a good man. Kyle was a fair man.
Yes.
Kyle once had hair. Life changed. All right.
Years ago.
Kyle, so Jeremy has now officially won the contest. I believe I came second place. You can strike for third. What you got?
What do you want me to say after that? I just got murdered.
You can come at me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This isn't really my forte, but yeah, well, I'll think of something.
Do it as a roast, like a comedian.
Yeah. You know, George Mackay, you talk a lot of shit. You're sitting there in your mother's basement. You got your chain that you bought when you were in the fucking 7th grade. Looks like you got it out of a Cracker Jack box with your stenciled on beard. You better shut your mouth before I make sure that the mini host takes your job.
Shit. She is going to take my job. She's 10 times better than me. I know this. I've come accustomed. Jeremy knows. Listen, Jeremy knows. He had his interview with her, and right after I did my interview with him, and he's like, George, do we really need to bother doing this? Because she was great. I want to go on a high note. I was like, wow.
Toughest interview. I've never been put on the spot like that. I felt like I was, being cross-examined.
Especially she runs a tight ship.
She does. She's no joke. Those videos, they may be hilarious, but my ego gets dropped down a peg or two, for sure. For sure it does. It 100% does. Gentlemen, this has been fantastic. I enjoyed playing this game with you. I wish we had more time. I wish I would have known about SteamYard earlier. But now I do know, and I'm going to log up right now so I could be better prepared for the future. But again, gentlemen, thank you so much for this. This was an absolute pleasure. I'm going to tag you in everything when it drops on Sunday. It's going to drop Sunday around 2 to 2:30 p.m. I'm going to tag you in all the promotions. I'm going to share away everything and enjoy WrestleMania. That's all I can say. Before I do go, which match on WrestleMania night 1 or night 2 are you most looking forward to?
Kyle?
Let's see. I'm looking forward to Drew and Bobby Lashley, obviously, just because I love Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. Cesaro and Rollins, though, it's starting to grow more and more on me ever since we talked about it at the last one. So, yeah, I'd have to say from that, and also from just a presentation and pageantry standpoint, The Fiend and Randy Orton.
Yeah, and that was the same for me. Like I said on Circle of Debate, the two that I'm looking forward to are The Fiend and Randy Orton, because the whole storyline's been great. I'm looking forward to them redeeming themselves from their previous WrestleMania match, which I thought absolutely sucked balls. But, how good can a match be when it's built around having bugs projected on a ring? So yeah. I kind of like how he got redemption against John Cena. I want to see Bray Wyatt get redemption against Randy Orton. I don't think there is any possible way the match could be as bad as their last one. And also the match between Asuka and Rhea Ripley, because it's not a rematch. It's actually a first-time match that's happening. And so I have high hopes for those two. I think very highly of both of them. If you ask me, Asuka is the best women's wrestler in the WWE, maybe in the world right now. And Rhea Ripley is definitely the future. I think she's their best prospect. And I personally think that at the end of it, it'll be a bit of a changing of the guard, and they can start Rhea Ripley off real strong to be able to carry the company for the next 10, 15 years maybe.
I completely agree with what you said, Jeremy, and Kyle. You gave some great picks too. For me, I'm a Fiend guy. I love the Fiend. The Elite statue is right behind me that my wife got me for my anniversary gift because she gets me, gentlemen. She gets me. She understands. The Fiend, Randy Orton, I'm definitely looking forward to. Bobby Lashley and Drew, just because I'm half Scottish. So anytime there's a Scot rep in the main event, I got to pick it. I got to choose it. That's right. That's why we get along, Kyle. You see that? You understand the respect that's here, Kyle? You should learn a thing or two. You really should. Okay? Stetzel, Don, beard. Fucking butterbean looking motherfucker. All right, anyways, that's a match I'm looking forward to. Drew and Bobby for sure. And you're right, Cesaro and Seth Rollins, the build has been really decent. Let's hope the match delivers because that's what this whole episode was about today. And Rhea Ripley and Asuka, I'm thinking that's going to be probably the sleeper of the night. I am looking forward to that one because Rhea Ripley's a powerhouse. Asuka's a powerhouse. There's really nothing but just pure power that's going to be in that match. And I know that Rhea Ripley is 100% ready for Asuka. So I can't wait to see that. Gentlemen, thank you so much. That's it for me. Peace, love, and wrestling. See you guys all next time. Peace. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week for another great episode on all available podcast platforms and hosted on Podbean. Also, check us out on YouTube at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Instagram at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Facebook at Straight Talk Wrestling, and on Twitter at _Straight Talk. And if you feel the need to buy some sweet merch, check us out on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Leaving the scene with no trace, not in my league. You out of place. I'm not at the top. I'm outer space. Can't eat with us. We're out of place. I'm doing fine. I'm feeling great. You're not my fan. You can't relate. Straight talk going state to state.